Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Commodore welcomes you to Lincoln Center. My name is Bob Truckenbrode, Vice President of Marketing for Commodore. And I will be your host for what promises to be a very exciting exhibition. For tonight is the world premiere of Amiga.
My name is Corey Archangel. I am a Brooklyn-based artist and computer programmer.
Good evening. What you are about to witness is the result of an effort of research and engineering that began in 1982 and which to date has consumed over 100 man-years of engineering talent. The Amiga computer.
For the last 20 years, for whatever reason, a lot of my work has revolved around obsolete technology. I'd had this idea for a long time of trying to track down Andy Warhol's old Amiga discs. The best piece of evidence is a YouTube clip that's pretty well known of him at the debut of the Amiga 1000 at Lincoln Center. They kind of have dragged him up on stage, and he kind of paints a live portrait of Debbie Harry.
Are you ready to paint me?
Yeah.
But also, if you read his diaries, there are a couple mentions of him working on computers.
You found it to be very spontaneous, haven't you?
Yeah, it's great. It's such a great thing.
What more can you say?
Well,
I can
there's
say
a lot of things.
Oh, that looks very good.
Well, the first step was actually Tina Kukowski, who is a curator here at the Carnegie, set up an appointment for us to go over to the Warhol Museum and basically, literally knock on the doors of almost everybody over there. The Warhol Museum did actually have Andy Warhol's Amigas, and they did actually have boxes of discs.
Corey and Tina approached us at the Warhol Museum about accessing the images that Andy created, and really we did not have any clue what was on the disc. At that point, I only knew of 2 images that Warhol had made. I mean, I'm sure that I assumed that there were lots of other images because Andy's assistant Jay had told me that he had played around with the Amiga for a while. But exactly what those images were, I had no idea. So it was really great to, you know, to have someone who really cares about this stuff.
What computers have you worked on before?
Oh, I've worked on anything. I've waited for this one.
Really?
I really quite closely read a couple times his diaries. The one that I remember the most is that he was jealous of Keith Haring, because Keith Haring was making t-shirts by drawing on computers, and he was really jealous of that. And you know, Warhol was often driven by envy and jealousy, like all artists.
Are you?
Yeah, it's like anything else, you want to be the best. He's been a big influence on me just because he basically made a manual of what it was like to be an artist on a day-to-day basis.
In his diaries, his published diaries, he says that he was approached by this kid who turned out to be Steve Jobs. Steve wanted Warhol to use the Mac, but Andy didn't like it because at that time the Mac was only grayscale, and Andy really liked color, of course. So when the people from Commodore approached him, you know, and he saw what their computer could do, and they had talked with the people about it, and he was a lot more interested in using that. Plus, they were also willing to pay him a lot of money.
Let's talk a little bit more about the graphics that the Amiga computer can produce. We're going to bring up a test pattern showing all 4,096 colors of the Amiga computer on screen simultaneously.
When I first found out that the Warhol actually did have the discs, luckily I knew exactly who to call.
So here at Carnegie Mellon, I direct the Frank Ratchey Studio for Creative Inquiry. It's our lab for atypical and anti-disciplinary research at the intersection of art, science, technology, and culture. And one of the things we do is we connect the outside to the inside. We bring in artists in residence, and we also conduct all kinds of activities, exhibitions, and so forth. Corey approached me when he discovered that the Warhol Museum had the original Warhol Amiga, and he asked if I might know anyone in town here in Pittsburgh who would be able to do the kind of retro computing required to forensically extract data off a 30-year-old Amiga. And so I used the instrument of the studio to bridge Corey, the museum, and the CMU Computer Club.
The Computer Club are worldwide experts in obsolete computer maintenance and software development and preservation. They are these engineering students who have this passion for making these old computers run again. You could see it when they talk about it, that they just kind of light up, and they just have such a good vibe, and they're full of such good energy. They're kind of like karma warriors or something like that.
I first heard this through Michael. He sent me a link to an article or a picture of Warhol using an Amiga 1000 and said, hey, they think he might have some data, and they want us to look at it as a computer club, as experts on retro computing and the Amiga.
Warhol had software that was so early that software hadn't yet developed the ability to allow you to save files on different disks. And so basically, Warhol had to save his images on the actual disk that contained the software that created the images. And so it took us a long time to realize that. And it's something that you would forget being a modern computer user.
On this screen, at the upper right, you see the icon for the Workbench disk, which we used to start the system. To the side of it, you find a window containing the icons of the top drawer of that disk. You see the clock and preferences tools, utility programs available under the Workbench. And you see a selection of drawers containing other tools, projects, or other drawers. At Amiga, the user controls how he uses his time, not the computer.
The expertise generally does not exist within museums to understand this kind of digital information, particularly old digital information.
Oh, I hate digital preservation. I don't want to talk about it.
We know what to do when we discover a painting from a famous artist. You know, we're like, oh, first we authenticate it, and then, you know, it just joins the collection. But digital images are a whole different ball of wax. We couldn't keep it on those floppies. Those floppies were about to fall apart. Literally, the magnetic material is like coming off the substrate. If they stayed on the floppies any longer, those images would have been gone.
It was important to us that we would only touch Andy Warhol's discs once, and they would never ever need to be touched again, because we wanted to be the last person to ever touch them in order to preserve them.
The guys from the Computer Club came to the museum. They brought all of their gear, their emulator devices, and it was kind of like miraculous, you know, that they were able to read all of this information, this data that resides on these disks.
We took a USB device called the CryoFlux, which allows you to attach a floppy drive to a modern computer with USB and create a low-level image of floppies. From this, we were able to get standard EDF files, which work with Amiga emulators, and we were able to examine the contents. All right, what's the number?
1998.3.
Okay.
2137.
2137.
1.7.
1.7.
After the Computer Club made copies of Warhol's discs, the files were turned over to Keith, who is the Computer Club's resident Amiga expert.
We were all sitting in Michael's basement. I think it might have just been the day that we came back from the museum. It might have been the day after. I can't quite remember, but we're down there in the basement, you know, surrounded by Michael's retro computing equipment, looking through the files, trying to see if there's anything we'd even be able to display. Okay, so let me go back to the newer version of Workbench then.
So this is going to take some sleuthing.
This is going to take a while. First thing that we did is we looked at which files were on the disk to identify if any were in known graphics formats. And there were some more that came with software, but there were other ones that we weren't sure about.
So there are two disks that have handwritten labels that say Graphic Craft, and there's another hand-labeled disc that says D-Paint. The number we're going to be looking at is 1998.3.2921.3.22.
What is going on?
So what happened was, since I still had the virtual disk inserted, it booted off of it. And that was interesting. I don't know what happened there.
Well, there was a lot of screaming and excitement when we opened one of the first things that we thought Andy Warhol might have created.
Dude. That's really exciting. There's
here. Can I break the fourth wall? With the
Look, yeah.
Oh my God. Maryland1.pic.
Yeah. Campbell's.pic. We see this Campbell's.pic, which is interesting. Maryland 1.
That's an understatement.
Flower. Understatement. I tend to understate things. And there actually is Graphic Craft, which is what the disc was labeled.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
So maybe it was a disc that was repurposed.
Run it. Open those files.
All right. Well, I'll give it a try.
Whoa! I can't believe that. What was the disc was labeled Graphic Craft?
Yeah, and there was a program on it, or a file on it called Graphic Craft,
which is theoretically the program that these images were made in.
Yep, potentially, yeah.
So how do you use this program?
I'm so excited! I think I'm gonna throw up.
I'll go get a garbage can.
In a way, a lot of the data and things that we work with almost seems like it's imaginary. It's electrons in a machine, and you can turn it into photons if you use a display. But in some sense, it's almost like it's not even there. Like I can't pick up a piece of software in sort of the more substantial sense, rather than the disk or the media that it's on.
Hardware people like to joke that all we do all day is move bits around our hard disks.
Yeah.
They're kind of right.
Keith basically did a bunch of hacking to kind of figure out how to read the files. And after a lot of back and forth and quite advanced Amiga knowledge, he was able to read most of the files off of those disks.
So all these PIC files that I guess maybe with some more effort we could get some idea of what they look like. But there's also this Venus here, which we think that says it's IFF.
So that's just like, what is that?
Well, I know it was a common format that was used on Amiga, but it's saying that it's a format that it understands, and I think that you might even just be able to display it on a PC.
Do it. Yeah, convert it to a PNG.
Let's see if we can use ImageMagick to convert it into a PNG so we can look at it.
Do it.
Yeah, make it bigger.
Make it bigger. Alright, let's see what this is.
Whoa! Holy shit.
It has 3 eyes. That's a little bizarre.
Holy shit, I think that's it.
What do you think it is?
I think that's like that's an artwork.
Okay.
Well, it could just be a piece of clipboard. Should we had a disc of clipboard. Should we see if there's an original of this that's different?
No, the clipboard doesn't have 3 eyes. No, do it. But
okay. All right. So I dumped the clip art disc too.
Okay, so now we're comparing. Okay, we'll compare it to the clip art.
All right, so let's see if I can find Venus.
Corey, what do you think you found?
There it is.
I think that that is a Warhol that nobody has ever seen before. That's what I think that is. But we'll know in about 2 seconds.
And here's the clip art.
Yes. So
and
it is.
It only has 2 eyes.
So that's the original.
Uh-oh.
So Warhol apparently was playing around with clip art. That's the original clip art.
Right.
And that is what Warhol did. He copied an eye and put a third eye on Venus. So no, I think that is literally a Warhol that no one has ever seen before, which is beyond my wildest expectations of what we could have done here.
And never before seen artwork on a computer in someone's basement.
We're going to go up to color and pick yellow.
Andy is selecting from the menu bar, which gives you all the features of the paint system, and he's selecting fill. And this is a slow version of the fill, just so you can see how Andy decides to work. Now this is an instance of a leaky flood fill.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of pretty. I think I'll keep it.
Okay.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I think that's wild. That looks wild. That in a way is the trick of art, I guess, is to have a lot of fun and to have a lot of positive vibes and to not take it too seriously, but hopefully what ends up coming out is a kind of eternally poetic thing. Do you know what I mean? That at least is one trick of art, I guess. You know, you gotta have fun. I mean, obviously whoever made this was having a lot of fun. A+. That's cool, these paint bucket patterns. Pretty cool.
This, I think, was a really great experiment in his later years. It's just fantastic to know now, like, what is there. I mean, who knows, we might find other discs in the future as well, too, because we still have a lot of boxes to look through. But I think that, you know, just knowing what we know now, you know, with these 30 or so images, that's a lot. It's a lot more than what we knew before.
Well, there you have it. The Amiga computer. We've lived our dream and seen it come to life. Now it's your turn. What will you do with the Amiga computer? Thank you.